What's going on, sports card collectors? Another day closer to the NBA season starting. We've seen the draft, we've seen contracts, we've talked about different trades moving around, most recently the John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade. I want to talk about the 6 extensions, big, huge contract extensions that have taken place during this offseason, and ask you the question, do you think last year's draft class will have this many extensions also? However, not all the individuals we'll be talking about today came out of the same draft class, but I want to discuss the extensions and my thoughts on it and ask if you think that they are justified. I don't think they all were. Let's find out. I'm going to bring this in here and hopefully this will come in close enough. Let's dim this down. Okay, so coming up first, we have had, let's see, 4 players that were out of the same draft class received extensions during this offseason. The other 2 were from 2 different draft classes. 2 of them have something in common. The rest of them do not. One of them has the advantage over all of them. Let's talk about Donovan Mitchell. Great year with the Utah Jazz. Drafted in 2017. Was the 13th pick. Actually, Denver selected him. Ended up going to the Jazz. This past year, he averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, and I'm just going to round back or up, depending on where it's at, but 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and his player efficiency ratio is an 18.86, which was 51st in the league. What does he do? Signs a 5-year, $195 million contract extension. Going on. I don't know why it doesn't want to load that quick. Is Brandon Ingram, class of 2016. Why are we not loading here? Isn't that interesting? Okay, there we go. He was class of 2016. Apparently this wants to do its own, or draft class 2016. He was the 2nd overall pick by my LA Lakers and eventually involved in the trade with Anthony Davis, went over to the Pelicans. And this past year, he averaged 23 points, almost 24 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. His player efficiency ratio was 18.88 for a ranking of 49th in the league. What does he do? Signs a 5-year, $158 million contract extension. Let's see if this one loads for me. There we go. Next up, class of 2017, the 3rd overall pick by the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum. Averages 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. His player efficiency ratio is 20.45, ranked 37th in the league. What does he do? Signs a 5-year, $195 million contract extension. I don't know why. Sorry, here we go. Class of 2017, the 5th overall pick, De'Aaron Fox. Last season, averages 21 points, 4 assists, or 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Player efficiency ratio, 20.70 for 31st in the league. What does he do? Signs a 5-year contract extension that could range anywhere from 163 to 196 million. Next. If we load, is another class of 2017. While it's still loading up, Bam Adebayo in the finals this year with the Miami Heat. What does he go do? He signs a 5-year, $163 to $190 million contract, all while being the 14th pick in the first round in 2017. This past year, he averaged almost 16 points a game, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. His player efficiency ratio was 20.36, which was 38th. So far, 2nd best, next to De'Aaron Fox. And last but not least, We have class of 2012, Anthony Davis, first pick, who last season averages 26 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. His player efficiency ratio is 26.50 and is 4th in the league. Why am I going through all this when you guys have seen the headlines? Of course, Anthony Davis was most recently, and he goes and signs a 5-year, $190 million contract extension. Why I'm pointing this out is you have 4 guys that were from the draft class of 2017, one of which, Bam Adebayo, played in the NBA championships this year, all signed contract extensions. Only one of them, Bam Adebayo, was in the NBA finals. The other 3 were not. You have De'Aaron Fox, who came out of the same year, signs a 5-year contract extension. He was injured, and they weren't even there. So my question is, out of all of these contracts, did all of them deserve these extensions? My opinion, only 2 did. What 2? Well, Anthony Davis. Why? He's been in the league longer. He's been in for 8 years. He signs his extension here with the Lakers. 4th in his player efficiency rating. Wins the NBA championship with LeBron. Well deserving. The other one, Bam Adebayo. This guy's in his 3rd season, and he's in the NBA championship. And in the Eastern Conference championship game, has probably the best block at the end of the game on a player that I really like and resembles most closely to one of my favorite players, Kobe Bryant, on Jason Tatum. And that block will be seen for years and ages to come. It'll be seen even when I'm come and gone and you've come and gone, and one of the key blocks, and he's an up and coming. I wasn't too high on Bam Adebayo until we got to the bubble and watching his play, and now I see it. He's there. So I feel that the contract extension for him was deserving, especially when you don't have a lot of top-notch centers these days. And I know the game's changed. We've spread the floor. We're looking for that outside shot. But I think you've also seen those that can play the inside game and come out of the paint and shoot their shot, makes them that much more deadlier. That's why somebody like Anthony Davis, who's really typically a forward, but has played center a lot, basically when he was with the Pelicans, he can pull up from outside. He does have that dribbling skills because of the growth spurt. He does have guard skills built in him also that makes him that much more dangerous. But I would dare say that Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis were the only 2 that really were deserving of these contract extensions. Now, I get it. There's a lot of things. You want to lock people up. You want to make sure you're building your team around them. Please don't take what I'm saying as I don't think the other players are any good, because I'm actually a very big fan of Jason Tatum and De'Aaron Fox. I have nothing against Donovan Mitchell. I have nothing against Brandon Ingram. Matter of fact, Brandon Ingram had a great year, all-star year this year. My thinking is Ingram, he's got 1 year extra in with the other guys compared to the other guys, but they've been in for 3 years. They have not made it to the NBA Finals. Yes, they were in the playoffs. De'Aaron Fox wasn't, but Ingram, the Pelicans, they eventually got bowed out early. So here's the thing. This money's going around. We have no fans in the stands. We know the money's there, obviously, because we're signing these contract extensions. I would say it was a little too early. Now, how will that pan out? Well, obviously, if you go look on eBay with the sports cards, these guys signed the extensions, and these cards are now starting to go crazy. Not out of the ordinary crazy, but they immediately jump up in value. And I know it's a lot kind of like the stock market. What's hot, that's where it's going to go, and it'll drive the price up until the demand fades away, and then the price will come down. It'll settle a little bit, and then when the demand goes back up again, the price will go back up. What I'm thinking is, though, is out of last year's draft class, and you take 3 years from now, how many do you think would get an extension like the 2017 group did? You had 4 guys from the class of 2017 draft that got 5-year extensions this year. Do you suppose we talked highly about last year's draft class with Zion and Morant and Barrett and Hunter and Nunn and Kobe White and Hachimura and PJ Washington, Cam Johnson and Siku? Is there 4 guys out of that group that 3 years from now, well, now really they're going into their second season, so 2 years from now, would 4 guys at least get extensions like the class of 2017? I mean, don't get me wrong. The class of 2017 was actually a very good class also. We just haven't had individuals like the likes of Zion or Ja Morant come out in a while. And we've got some bloomers that are starting to show up on file here that people are big on, like Cam Johnson, and people were big on Siku, and they think this year's a big year. Kendrick Nunn's shown his worth with the Miami Heat. Kobe White showed what he could do when he was with the Bulls. Hachimura with the Washington. So I'm looking at the list there, the Zion, the Morants, and I'm not going to list them all off. The DeAndre Hunter, Garland, Culver, White, Nunn, Hachimura, PJ Washington, Cam Johnson, Siku, and guys like that. As great as this draft class was, do you think that at least four guys out of this group would get a max extension 2 years from now? I'm going to go off on the limb and say no. Who's the guys that are going to be there? Yeah, we're hoping that a bunch of these guys really flourish, because I know there's a lot of people that have cards tied up with different grading companies and hoping to get their value back, or the value just increases so much that they've struck gold, so to speak. They bought the card maybe for a couple bucks or $20 back 6-7 months ago or 4 months ago, and they're hoping by the time they get the card back that's turned into a $2, $3, $4, $1,000 card, or wherever it may be. It's possible, but I don't see it. RJ Barrett was highly touted until Zion came into the picture. He got dealt a bad hand, in my opinion, and gone to the Knicks. I think the Knicks have improved vastly or greatly this year over last year's. Adding Obi Toppin. That'll lead me into my next topic of not today, but another video. Who are the stars that you think will shine in this year's draft class? I dare tell you right now, in my opinion, I don't think it'll be your top 5. I don't think your Edwards and your Wiseman and your Ball and those guys are going to be your big stars. And don't get me wrong, and you're going to say, this guy's crazy. I think there's some sleeper picks that are out there, and then I'm going to point them out, that I think that actually could come alive. And they weren't real big in college, but when they get translated to the NBA scene, I think that these are going to be those diamonds in the rough, if you call it. And everybody's looking for a diamond in the rough, so why not? Why not talk about it? Well, it's the idea of the sports is what could be and what could happen, and if it does, you look like a superstar, right? Well, I'm going to go off on that limb and see how far I can bend it down without breaking it, and make some picks. Let's say five sleeper picks that were drafted not in the top 10 that I think that could have possibly a better career than the top 10. I know it's far-fetched, but is it? We know that people like Ja Morant, who comes out of a school of Marquette, who's not really highly touted. You've got guys that come out that aren't really highly recruited in high school, didn't go to a big college, and then they come out and you don't hear about them, except for maybe guys from Kentucky. If you look at the list here, a lot of these guys are from Kentucky. So Kentucky's doing something right in how they've got these guys playing. They've got a loaded roster, playing unselfish, and they're translating very well to the NBA. But just some thoughts I wanted to get out. I've been watching a lot of the videos that everybody's been putting on YouTube, talking about the NBA, talking about sports cards, talking about flipping sports cards. And, the prices, there's some people that says, the prices are increasing. I see a little bit of a price increase. I don't see a lot. I see a lot of people watching, but I don't see people ready to, so to speak, pull the trigger to make these big purchases. I'm not saying they're not happening, but I think we're slowly starting to creep back up. By no means have we peaked again, but card prices will start to go up, especially when they start playing basketball again. But right now, I still consider this the off season. People are still trying to get adjusted to the different teams that players are on. Most recently, the John Wall, Russell Westbrook. I'm a big John Wall fan. I like him. He's been out for 2 years. I hope he can come back from his injuries and have a solid, finish up his career solidly. Russell Westbrook, I'm not a real big fan of him. I'm not saying he's not good. I just don't care for the guy, honestly. And I hope, I just have a feeling that he's going to butt heads with Bradley Beal. And I just hope he doesn't bring that team down for somebody like a Hachimura that's there. And you got Thomas Bryant at center, and then they got the new draft there, I think from Israel or whatever, that Navita, whatever his name was, on a team that I hope he at least mentors and helps bring them along and doesn't bring that team down. So that's all I really have. I'm not sitting here trying to necessarily create an argument. I'm sure there's something going to be out there that's going to be like, you're way off base, or they disagree, and that's fine. That's the nice thing about it. That's why I said that in my opinion, that's what I feel, and I stick by that. But I would think out of these 6 contract extensions, big contract extensions that were done during this off season, I think 2 out of the 6, Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis, are the 2 worth and deserving of the extensions. The other 4, I think we needed to wait a little bit. But I understand too, you have your rookie contracts that come up, or they've been in the league and it's coming due and it's owed to them, or whatever it may be. But I just feel that it's a little too early. I think that another year or 2 wait would have been ideal, in my opinion. But obviously, I don't own an NBA team. I'm not the general manager, and I'm not the finance guy. But for right now, I'm down the road. Definitely, those 4 guys I think are deserving of a contract extension of that level. I just think it was a little too premature, in my opinion. So that's all I have, guys. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click down below. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps me out. Hit the like button. Give me some likes. Help me out here. Give me some likes, not dislikes. Give me some positive likes. And if you enjoy the content, the box breaks that I do, or talking about graded cards, hit the little bell down below so that you can be notified the next time I have a video that pops up. And as always, guys, I appreciate the support. I appreciate the conversations I have with all of you. Even it's back and forth on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter. I enjoy that. I enjoy having guys reach out and say, hey, I just purchased an order off your eBay store. I watch your videos all the time. You know what? I appreciate that. I really do. I'm truly genuine when I say thank you. I appreciate it, or I say thanks. I really, truly am, from the bottom of my heart, appreciative of that. I really do enjoy the game of basketball. I played basketball myself. My career ended early at the age of 29 because of bad ankles. But I was playing with Division I athletes at the time of my peak, before my ankles told me that I had to stop, or actually the doctor did. So, guys, I appreciate it. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you next time.